When you became interested in joining the military, did you think you were finished with math forever? No more finding the mysterious x or the square of a number, or adding, subtracting, and multiplying without a calculator? As it turns out, you will always need math for something. That's why you're faced with having to take the mathematical knowledge subtest, and this course will help you review what you've learned so you can get a high score on this portion of the ASVAB. Here's what you'll be tested on: basic math and algebra terminology, algebra equations and expressions, geometric shapes and their components, and calculating without a calculator. You'll notice as you move through the course that some pages will advance automatically. At other times, you will have to press the next button to move forward. So if nothing seems to be happening, look for a next button. To get started, click the forward arrow now at the bottom of the screen. If you're a little nervous about studying math again, we're here to set your mind at ease. This isn't climbing Mount Everest. This is basic math you studied in school, including algebra and simple geometry. During the test, you'll be asked to solve some word problems, as well as more straightforward arithmetic and algebra equations that involve symbols called variables, such as x and y. Here are a few examples of the type of questions you'll encounter. Question 1. You were assigned the task of buying rearview mirrors for the stationed 35 tanks. If the price of each mirror is $125, how much would cost the regiment to buy the 35 mirrors? Question 2. Solve for x. 5x plus 7 equals 12. Question 3. Add the following fractions: 1/2 plus 2/3 plus 3/4. Question 4. Apply the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of the hypotenuse if the remaining two sides each measure 33 inches. How hard were those for you? If you can only solve one or two or even none at all, don't worry. You'll be able to solve them all by the end of this course. Click the next button to continue. To pass the mathematical knowledge subtest with flying colors, it might not be enough to know how to solve the problems. You also have to complete the test within the time allotted. To make sure you can do this, you might want to look at the strategies or tips adopted by the top test takers. Here they are. Identify the question and its relevant answer. Figure out what you are solving. For instance, is the question asking for hours or minutes? This can make a big difference in finding the correct answer. Solve what you can and guess the rest. Use the process of elimination. Double-check your work. This means if you have time, go back and check your work before submitting your test. Click Next to take a closer look at each test tip tool with an example. Let's explore the test tips in greater detail. A marker point on the screen represents a test tip. Move the cursor over the marker to view the tip and its related example. Identify the question and its relevant answer. To do this, read the question with me. You are assigned the task of buying rearview mirrors for the stationed 35 tanks. If the price of each mirror is $125, how much would it cost the regiment to buy the 35 mirrors? Here, you are supposed to find the cost of buying 35 rearview mirrors, and the price for a single mirror is $125. This is a simple math problem. To find the total cost, multiply 35 by $125. Figure out what you are solving. At times, the subtest can be tricky, so it's important to take the time to correctly understand the question. Here's an example. The regiment ordered 14 tanks and trained 50 soldiers to operate them. The total training expenditure was $5,000. What was the average cost of training each soldier? The trick here is that an irrelevant number was placed in the question to try to confuse you. You have 50 soldiers and $5,000 in training expenses. You are being asked to find the average cost of training, which you would calculate by dividing $5,000 by the 50 soldiers. The irrelevant number is the 14 tanks, which have nothing to do with the question being asked. So the correct answer is $100 per soldier. If you are falling short on time, select the option that seems most correct. This may or may not be easy, but thinking it through will help you determine the right answer. Here's an example. Select the square root of 121 from the given options. Since 121 is a 3-digit number, the square root must be at least 2 digits. For example, the highest single-digit number that can be squared is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. So you can eliminate answer options B and D, since they are single-digit numbers. If you don't know the square root of 121 or how to find it, you are left with options A and C. You can then square the two remaining to see which one is correct. If you don't have time to do the math, make your best guess at this point because you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Use a process of elimination. This means increasing your chances of guessing right by eliminating clearly wrong answers. Let's take another look at the square root of 121. We eliminated 2 options. Now let's see if we can get rid of one more. Looking at the 2 remaining answers, we notice that C ends in a 1 and the answer ends in a 1. Choice A ends in a 3. If that were squared, the answer would end in a 9. So choice C is clearly more likely to be right. Finally, always pace your subtest in such a way that you get at least 5 minutes to review or recheck your answers. According to the experts, this step is crucial. Correcting even one wrong answer could make all the difference. Math Terminology Basic Training. Term definitions. Before we start working on problems, let's review the basic math terms you'll need for your test. They are base and exponent, factorial, reciprocal, root, and rounding. Click the next arrow to continue. We start with the base and exponent. These terms refer to multiplying a number by itself. The base is the main number, and the exponent, or power, is the number of times you will multiply it by itself. For example, 8 cubed, or 8 raised to the 3rd power, we are talking about multiplying 8 times itself 3 times. 8 is the base, and 3 is its exponent. Here are a couple of practice problems. Once done, click Submit to check your answer and continue to the next fundamental term. The factorial of a number is the product of all descending natural numbers in a series. It's denoted by an exclamation mark. So if n is the natural number, its factorial is expressed as n with an exclamation mark. For example, 4 with an exclamation mark means 4 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, which equals 24. Similarly, the factorial of 8 is 8 multiplied by 7, multiplied by 6, multiplied by 5, multiplied by 4, multiplied by 3, multiplied by 2, multiplied by 1, which equals 40,320. As an exercise, determine the factorial for 9 and 10. Once done, click Submit to validate and continue. Great job! Well done! You accurately calculated 9 factorial as 362,880.